Say more on the string. It doesn't. High drum.
Recitar mentre preso tal delirio non so più quel che dico e quel che faccio eppure tuo sforzati pa sei tu forse un uomo.
Making this album was definitely the single most rewarding musical experience I've ever had.
My thought would be that this whole room here would be your suite, as it would be. The tenor suite. Yes, the tenor suite.
I couldn't be luckier to have one of the most amazing conductors in the opera world. His name is Franz Vogt. We met years ago when I was an apprentice at Sarasota Opera, and I was surprised to know that he actually remembered me after all this time. We met again and reunited again doing a production of Don Giovanni in Florida. And we just hit it off, and he's been an amazing advocate of mine.
Making your mama so happy.
When I first heard him at the first rehearsal that we did of Don Giovanni, the stage director, a very good friend of mine, and I looked at each other with that knowing look like, ooh, this is going to be fun. I wasn't the only one, aside from the stage director, who was impressed, because sitting alongside of me was a very dear and old friend of mine from the Metropolitan Opera, Ray Gniewik, who was concertmaster there for 47 years and had recently retired with his wife, Judy Blagan, to Naples, Florida. And he played in the Naples Orchestra, the opera orchestra, and he was sitting there marking parts. And Brian opened his mouth, and Ray looked over to me, and I looked at him, and the eyebrows went up. Now, I've known Ray for a number of years, and I know when the eyebrows go up, something is going on. One night, he came to me in one of the intermissions, and he said, Franz, he said, I haven't heard a sound like that in years. Who is he reminding me of? And we racked our brains and didn't come up with anything that night, but I finally, we agreed that what he was being reminded of was a man named Cesare Valletti, who sang at the Met in 1935, which was the year, I believe, that Ray Gniewik first started at the Metropolitan Opera. And that's the voice that Ray was hearing when he heard Brian, which is quite a wonderful comparison for any tenor.
We recorded in 3 days. We recorded 15 arias. And that was like a marathon. But it was great. Franz was amazing. The orchestra was phenomenal. The level of musicianship was just so exciting. It was thrilling. And it was so great to be a part of it.
From start to finish, the recording process was fantastic. From the planning with Gabe Herman at Sonolists and his team, to the many visits that we had to the studio, to thinking about the layout of the orchestra, to how Brian would be recorded in a separate room, which of course musically added its problems, but I think it was clearly the most manageable way of doing this kind of project.
In deciding the album concept, we were thinking, yes, we need to have some well-known tenor arias. I am a full lyric tenor, so that really gives us lots of great stuff to work with. But I really wanted to narrow it down to a theme, and the theme that we came up with is love. Whether it's I'm falling in love, or I'm falling out of love, or oh my God, she betrayed me, and I used to be in love. We kind of run the gamut.
The idea would be to choose arias that would really suit Brian's voice the best. His wonderful acting and incredible Italian fits that Italian love aria idiom so well. So we knew that in order to portray the idea of the romantic hero, there had to be a lot of Italian love arias on the CD.
I think it's safe to say that almost every one of these arias I worked with Jerry on. And that also makes it a really special, unique thing too.
And then, of course, we wanted to show his versatility as an artist and to try to include as many other languages as we could, which is why Brian chose German and French and obviously some English as well to include on the recording.
I've a very strange feeling I've ne'er felt before. 'Tis a kind of a grind of depression. My heart's acting strangely, it feels rather sore. At least it gives me that.
My fondest wish is that the success of this recording, which I'm virtually assured of, will send Brian on to the next level, because he's a rarity and he represents an all too vanishing breed of vocal musicians who need to carry on this tradition, and I believe that he can do that and will do it, and I'm certain that audiences will hear this and respond to it, and I think the sky's the limit. You have been an absolute dream. Thank you. But that's okay. I hope there's a future collaboration at some point. I'd be very honored.
Well, let's start playing the second album. Check out my self-titled debut solo album coming out October 8th. I hope you like it.
Seul désir, un seul espoir, revoir au Carmen. Oui, te revoir.